2. Create safe spaces. Implement confidential feedback channels. What works well? Es bueno. Establishing confidential feedback channels is more than just a checkbox. It's a commitment to psychological safety, trust, and transparency. When team members know there's a secure way to voice their concerns without fear of retaliation, it changes the entire dynamic. It creates an environment where people feel heard, respected, and valued. True safe spaces for feedback empower individuals to bring forward real issues, enabling leaders to address challenges before they fester and disrupt the culture. AI can significantly enhance these confidential feedback channels. By using AI-driven platforms, organizations can gather and analyze feedback more efficiently while ensuring anonymity. These tools can help identify trends and common themes in the feedback, allowing leaders to pinpoint areas of concern that may need attention. AI can also provide real-time sentiment analysis, giving leaders insights into the overall morale and emotional climate of the team. Confidential feedback isn't just about collecting input. It's about showing your team that their voices matter. It means taking action and building a culture of accountability, where concerns are met with real solutions. When feedback is protected and analyzed, people are more likely to speak openly, and that honesty can become the foundation for transformation. Real-world experience. I've been in organizations where confidential feedback systems were set up the right way, and the difference was remarkable. People trusted that their concerns would be taken seriously, and over time, it fostered openness, trust, and improved team dynamics. When leaders responded to feedback with action, it showed that they genuinely cared about the well-being of the team. That's when trust is built, not just through words, but through consistent, accountable action. But I've also worked in environments where the idea of anonymous feedback was only that, an idea. On paper, there were mechanisms for feedback, but in reality, nothing changed. I watched in disbelief as those courageous enough to answer the questions and give honest feedback lost any momentum on their career track. Instead of rewarding that courage, leadership took what was said as a call to punish, not promote. Those of us who spoke up faced subtle retaliation, and the message to everyone else was loud and clear: stay silent if you want to survive. It was a betrayal of trust, a betrayal of what feedback is meant to represent. One manager I worked with told me, when I asked about survey feedback, that he planned to make the respondents fix the problems they reported. After all, they had raised the issues. But when I spoke to the team afterward, they explained that the problems they highlighted were far beyond their sphere of influence or control. These were issues that only the manager himself had the authority and responsibility to address. Instead of taking accountability, he placed the burden back on the team, compounding frustration and breaking trust. I've seen firsthand how selective action, or worse, inaction, breeds resentment and deepens divides. Leaders who ask for feedback but do nothing with it are complicit in maintaining a broken system. What does not work so well? No bueno. A lack of confidential feedback channels creates an environment of fear and distrust. I've seen how toxic environments flourish when people feel unsafe sharing their concerns. Without safe spaces to voice issues, the problems simmer beneath the surface until they explode, leaving teams disengaged, disillusioned, and disconnected. When feedback is not acted upon, or worse, when people are retaliated against for speaking out, it sends a message that their voices don't matter. The result is a culture where people stop caring, stop engaging, and ultimately stop trusting. Creating safe spaces through confidential feedback channels is essential for fostering psychological safety and trust within any organization. It's not just about collecting feedback. It's about building a culture where every voice matters and where action is taken to resolve real issues. Without this foundation, the risk is a culture where people feel silenced, unseen, and ultimately disengaged. Those who are courageous enough to answer the tough questions deserve to be heard, not punished. When leaders respond to feedback with retaliation, They don't just harm individuals, they undermine trust that keeps teams connected. Feedback should be a tool for growth, not a weapon for control. If organizations want to build environments of trust and openness, they must take confidential feedback seriously and ensure that the response is one of action, not punishment. Say Something by A Great Big World and Christina Aguilera comes to mind when I think of the power of creating safe spaces. The song's haunting plea, "Say something, I'm giving up on you," reflects the deep emotional weight of being unheard. It serves as a reminder that when people's voices are ignored or punished, the damage goes far beyond disengagement. It fractures the very foundation of trust. Just as in the song, when people feel like no one is listening, they start giving up, not only on their work, but on the entire system that failed them. Feedback channels must be treated with the seriousness they deserve. When people feel safe to speak, they open up. When they see that action follows their feedback, they believe in the system, and more importantly, they believe in their leaders. The transparency and trust built through confidential channels can transform a workplace, driving engagement, loyalty, and progress. This concludes Chapter 32. Please proceed to Chapter 33, Emotional Intelligence, a key to resilient and supportive leadership.